Hey, this is Double R. And I wanted to tell you that Anchor by Spotify is a great and easy way to make a podcast with everything you need and all in one place. Anchor has the tools to allow you to record, edit your podcast straight from your phone or your computer. When hosting with Anchor, you can distribute your podcast to all listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Best of all, it's totally free. So go down the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. This is the Let's Roll Podcast with your host, Double R. What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Rosenmost, Double R, and this is the Let's Roll Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to talk about stop staring. Stop staring at me. I do not do tricks. I do have a shirt that says I do tricks, but I'm going to discuss about why people stare, at least the way how I feel, why I think they stare, and that and much more right after this. So, when you're disabled, but you don't necessarily have to be disabled. If you just look different, you're dressed differently, just your appearance, period, people are going to stare. But in my case, I get stared at a lot. I mean, it's partly because I'm in a wheelchair. It's partly because I'm short. It's partly because I'm small and I'm overweight and, I just look different. Most of the time, the people that are staring at me are not necessarily adults. They're children. And so I get a lot of little kids staring at me and trying to figure out, what's going on with me. And some will smile, some will wave at me, some will even say hi to me. But they're like fixated on trying to figure out what the deal is with me. And that doesn't bother me that much. It's kids don't bother me. In general, staring at me doesn't really bother me. I don't have a problem with it. You can stare at me. I don't care. But yeah, as I said, I had a shirt that said, keep staring, I might do a trick. My mom used to say, and I shouldn't even make a shirt, it says, I don't care. Wait, what does it say? You can stare, I don't care. I know I'm good looking or something like that. But yeah, I don't really have a problem with staring, but I know it does. I know it does bother some people, and I recently got married, and the other person is in a wheelchair, and when we're out, we're stared at a lot, and we get comments that we are a cute little couple, and the whole time that we've known each other, and been about 7 years now. The times that we're out in public, like out of the store and stuff like that, we always get those comments. Now, kind of irritates her a little bit, but it doesn't bother me. I mean, we did get mistaken for a reality show couple that lives here in Houston, and I forget what the name of the show is, but it's about a doctor. The lady is a doctor, but they're little people. They're not necessarily wheelchair bound, but they're little people. And I guess for whatever reason, this guy comes over and starts talking to us, and we're trying to figure out why are you talking to us, and he's like, "Are y'all on that show?" And we're like, "What show?" Well, my fiance said, "Oh, they're talking about blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, we're not them. I've gotten mistaken for other people that that are disabled and actually have the same condition I have. I got mistaken one time for a person that was on Facebook, a famous person in his own right, Sean Stevenson. And I think the only reason I got mistaken for him, other than just me being small, is that I was bald headed and had a light beard or just a beard. And at the time, Sean Stevenson had the same thing. Um, but this cashier at Dollar Tree was like, "Hey, are you on Facebook?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." She goes, "Are you that guy on Facebook?" And I was trying to think, okay, what guy does she think I am? And then I start kind of realize, oh, you're talking about, the guy that motivation speaks in Little Small Dude, and that kind of explains. She goes, yeah, 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 that's him. I'm like, no, that's not me. Uh, the other thing I got mistaken for, or a person I got mistaken for, I don't know the actor's name, but there's an actor that also has osteogenesis imperfecta, but he was in Mad Max Fury Road, and he's short and fat and bald, and this guy at Kroger saw me and it's like, "Hey, were you in Mad Max?" And I'm like, "No, but I know why you asking me that." So I basically told him like, "Hey, yeah, we have the same thing, but we're not the same people." So, um, but people stare, man. Um, I did an episode where I talked about how not only do they stare, but they come up and say the weirdest things. And, like I said, my fiance doesn't, or not my wife, she didn't like people like going, "Oh, you're such a cute couple." I don't know why, because it's more of a compliment. She take it that way. Um, but the other comment that I get a lot is, "Oh man, I really like the fact that you're out." Me and my friend Izzy got that compliment the other day. That's some dude coming out of UPS like, "Hey man, I really like to see you that you're out doing your own thing." I'm like, why is that shocking? Like, why? Like, I don't get that. Like, you know, um, people with disabilities, they go out, they go do things, they shop. Some can't. Some have to have assistance to do it. But just because I'm out driving my own car, doing my own thing, like, you know, I guess I need to start going up to people that are walking and just like, "Hey man, it's really good to see that you're walking." Just throw them off. Just throw them off their game. Like, make a comment that they're not expecting. You know, um, I think the funnest times that I've had with people staring at me are going back to kids and them just like they just can't take their eyes off it. And then the other part of them staring at me is also the way the parents react. And like a lot of parents, let's just start pulling their kid like closer, like, "Stop doing that. Come on." And a lot of times I'll just tell the parents, "Okay, no problem. Don't worry about it. You know, uh, doesn't bother me." Um, I remember this one time these kids were staring at me, and I was probably teenager at the time. Pretty sure I was a teenager. And I went into this toy store, and these little kids were looking at me and just staring at me. And they were on one aisle, and I went down the opposite aisle and went down it and around and came up behind them. When I got up behind them, I went, "Boo." I scared them, and they took off running. um, Along with staring, though, then comes the questions, especially from little kids, is why are you in that chair? And or I'll hear them ask their parents, like, "Why is that little man in that chair? Why is he like that? And why are your legs so small?" And most of the time I just say it's just the way God made me, or it's just the way I was born. I don't try to get in like big specific reasons why I am disabled or what I have, unless it's an adult that asks me. If it's an adult that asks me, then I kind of explain, what my condition is and why I'm in a wheelchair. But when a kid asks me, I just kind of try to keep it as simple as possible. Sometimes I even mess with them, depending on how old they are. I remember one time telling somebody that it was at Magnolia High School homecoming game. Now, I was already out of school, been out of school, but I went to this game and I was watching the football game, and two little younger kids come up. But they were old enough to understand, um, when they asked me the question, it wasn't like it was a 5 or 6 year old or something like that asked me. They were more like 8 or 9, maybe 10. And so I just went, they're like, hey, why are you in that chair? And I'm like, you ever heard of Vietnam? These kids had no idea what Vietnam was. And I'm laughing to myself because I'm like, I'm not even old enough to have been in Vietnam. So, uh, and then, I've said this, I believe, on an episode where I told an adult one time, messing with a guy uh, that I knew I could joke with. I just said, I used to be an ex skydiver. I used to be like 6'1", and ever since the accident, I'm like 3'10" now, and I ended up in this wheelchair. And he kind of laughed, and he ended up bringing me a shirt that said ex skydiver on it. Um, I usually make fun of myself with people um, that stare at me or come up and ask questions or are not sure how to approach me, or I see that they want to say something but they don't know either what to say or how to say it. And so I usually joke about myself to them first, to kind of break the ice, let them know, hey, look, you're not going to offend me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I've been called a lot of things in my life, and I'm not, at my age now, I don't even really care what you call me. I care what you call people I care about. And if you're being cruel, that's one thing. But if you're saying something that wasn't necessarily meant to be mean, I'm not going to worry about it. Don't even care. And sometimes, even if you're saying it to be mean, depending on what you're saying and how you're saying it, do I care? There's very little things that can really upset me or make me mad when it comes to somebody trying to be mean to me because of my disability, or look at me weird or whatever. But I'm used to the stares. I'm used to people looking at me. I'm used to people asking me questions. So it doesn't bother me. And it's weird how, some things bother other people that have a disability, and they're so conscious and they're so, like, I don't want to say sensitive, but I guess they're more sensitive when it comes to certain things than I am. Like, there's things that I don't like about myself, but I accept the fact this is who I am. This is the way I am. Are there things that I could change? Yes. Are there things that I'm going to take the time to change? I don't know. I really have to be motivated and wanting to do it um, before I start doing it. And I've tried several times, and the biggest thing that I'm battling now that is just a struggle, but it's I'm partly comfortable with it, but I'm not, and that's my weight. And I haven't made that real decision to say, okay, I need to really do something about my weight. This is getting too much. And yes, I have habits that I really need to stop, or even, and you know what? I go back and forth with this in my own head. I have a problem with drinking Dr. Pepper. I know I need to not necessarily stop, but I know I need to slow way down. I try to drink more water, but that it's look. I live in Texas. I was born in Texas, raised in Texas, and if it ain't Dr. Pepper, it's sweet tea. If it ain't sweet tea, it's Dr. Pepper. And I will say probably right now it's more Dr. Pepper than anything. But I do know that I could cut down on that, and that would help a lot. I've thought about different things like looking into maybe some weight loss surgery to kind of something to give me that boost, that 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 that. I guess in my head it's like I'm thinking, man, it's just gonna be take a it's gonna take a minute for me to get to even a comfortable weight where I can really move around easily. Like right now, I can't really move around that easily. I mean, I can, but I can't. It would be beneficial if I dropped some weight because it would make it a little bit easier. Um, and if I just had a way to kind of boost that to get it going to where it doesn't seem like it's such a struggle or takes a long time or whatever, and I'm probably making excuses. But that is the one thing I don't like about me. Um, I don't care that I'm in a wheelchair. I don't care that I can't walk. But there's a lot of things I used to be able to do just because I was lighter. I wasn't as heavy. Well, and the other thing, I wasn't as old. And so my age and my weight are. I can't do anything about my age, but I can do something about my weight. And I just need some motivation. I need some, you know, I know it's easier said than done when people say, "Well, you don't need motivation. You just need to decide to do it." And I don't disagree with that to a point, but I need something besides the obvious. You're going to lose weight. I need something to work towards, and I don't know what that is yet. I don't know what's going to push me to just go, okay, I want to start doing this. And one thing is that I even have a gym membership and I've had it for over a year, and I've never gone to the gym. The only thing I could really do at a gym that I feel safe doing is swimming. Well, one thing that I need to feel safe in doing is being able to climb, not necessarily out of my wheelchair, but climb back into my wheelchair so I can go swimming. And I have a new power chair. I've had it for a little over almost 3 years. And I've only climbed into it from the ground one time. And that one time I thought I was going to die because I was so out of breath. But it's just because I wasn't used to it. And I just haven't taken the time to get used to it. Now, in my manual chair, I could get climbing in and out of that thing, you know, fairly easy and be okay with it. But the power chair, I just haven't taken the time to do that. And I guess if I could get myself to be able to do that and with confidence and not worry about if I'm going to break something or whatever, then that's just one step closer for me to be able to like, okay, let's go to the gym and let's go swim. And the other thing is, here's another big hang up about me. I don't like to go places by myself. I'm okay going by myself, but I just don't like it. And the gym's kind of one of those places where I don't want to go necessarily by myself. I'd like to go with someone, like just have a gym buddy to go work out with or go swim with or whatever. And currently, right now, the one person that would go is not close enough to go on a regular basis. And then I have a friend that lives with me, and trying to get him to go anywhere is like pulling teeth sometimes. So, um, I know I'm probably making excuses, but there's that one thing that I don't like about me, and other than that, I don't care about anything else. I don't care if somebody makes fun of me or whatever, and I don't care if you stare. But I would say try not to stare, and if you're gonna stare, like look over at me and then come over and say hi, or you know, just nod your head or something. Don't make it weird. Just like, hey, what's up? Give me one of those. With that being said, that is all I got to say about stop staring and staring in general. Again, I appreciate everybody continuing to support the podcast, and make sure you go check us out on the Let's Roll Podcast.com. Also, check out the YouTube channel where we release old episodes every Saturday on the YouTube channel. We're trying to build that channel up, get it to 100 subscribers. So help me out on that end if you can. But with that being said, as always, until next time, let's roll.
Hey, this is Paula, and you're listening to the Let's Roll podcast with host Double R. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media. Find links in the description below or at theletsrollpodcast.com.